NFL season is here, and with it is the most fun time of year for sports bettors. Now, more people like betting the NFL than any other sport. And it's interesting because there's certain aspects of the NFL that make it so fun to bet on, but can be much more challenging for casual bettors to have any kind of chance whatsoever. When you use a tool like A-Train Station, and quite frankly, there's no other tool like A-Train Station, when you use this tool, you can find edge and find better sports bets than you ever would be able to find on your own. Watch this video and we'll show you how. Welcome to The Advantage. I'm A-Train Bets. I use my brain to make bets. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about NFL betting with A-Train Station, and we're going to show you how easy it is at A-Train Station to find great plays for NFL. Now, what's cool about NFL is that more people watch it, more people are betting on it, there's more recreational bettors betting on it, which means for sharp bettors like ourselves, we can find more opportunities. However, because there's so many eyeballs on this, so much money in this, so many markets, it is one of the more what we call efficient markets for sports. And it's not simply because there's so many people that are interested in it. It's also because you only get games once a week for each team, right? And so because of that, there's longer periods of time for that information to get whittled down. Heck, if you only bet the NFL 3 or 4 days out instead of Sunday morning before all the games start, you'd probably do better than you would if you're betting Sunday mornings. Now, there are also advantages that you can have on Sunday mornings right before the games start. And those are different strategies than what we do in a video like this. I'm recording this on a Friday around lunchtime. And so you can imagine this isn't the most dynamic time of the week for finding NFL plays, but I can promise you we're going to find some. But Sunday mornings, I do a live stream because in that context, we get a lot of recreational order flow coming in. A lot of the bigger margin plays are gone, but we can react to market movements and how things are happening right up until game time, and we can find great edges there. A lot of good closing line value. If you're not familiar with that term, look up closing line value and learn about it. But the fact is, you don't have to be an expert to start making better bets. But the one thing I will say is that you can use your brain to make bets, and it's going to do you far more good than just taking picks from some loudmouth, right? I don't consider myself a tout. I don't tell people the picks. I'll show you some strategies. I'll show you how I would go about doing it. But the fact is that my focus is on building tools for advanced sports bettors to do what they do best. And what is the most important thing for a sharp sports bettor to do is to find something that's more unique than chasing down the same edges with the same screen, with the same group of people going after the same plays and expecting you're going to find edge that way. I'd much rather have you start to learn at an A-Train Station where you can find and customize specific things over time that maybe you'll be the first to see. Maybe you'll be the first to act on, as opposed to being in a foot race with 10,000 other people operating off of the same screen. That's why at A-Train Station, we want to give so much ability to customize, be flexible, be transparent about where these plays come from. But again, that's for later. For right now, early in the season, you want to make better NFL plays right now? I'm going to show you. Let's get started. So what we're going to do here, when you first log into A-Train Station, and keep in mind, there's a lot of software out there for sharp sports bettors. It can be as much as $800 a month, some more. Our product, you can get 24 hours of access for $9, at least right now. That price might go up, but monthly, $99, annual, $9.99, right? That's almost the same that some of these softwares are charging for a month. We're like, no, if you want to be a truly sharp sports bettor, you want good value in what you're getting in the tool side too, we give that to you. So in this case, what we do at A-Train Station is a lot of other software will give you one look at things, one positive EV screen or whatever it is. We give you several searches out of the gate, one click, and you're going to be able to go into it. And so you come in, you log into the station. This is what I love to do on days where I might only have a few minutes between meetings, but can I make a play? Can I find something that I like? Let's make a play. And with the NFL, you've got all this time before, between each game, you can find plays any time of the week. And there's a lot more margin early in the week before everybody's had a chance to wait on all the news and the casual bettors haven't showed up on Sunday morning. So don't be afraid to bet NFL days ahead of time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to one of my favorite searches. Plus Money Coin Flip is one of the easiest advantage strategies to have. And again, we're doing specific kinds of strategies that are baked into these searches to find interesting plays that you might want to make. But these are not simply just mindlessly going off of the same list as somebody else. But these are tried and true advantage betting strategies that you can use really easily, if even when you're new to this. So plus money coin flip simply means I'm going to risk $1 and I'm going to get back more than $1. That's the plus money on any given bet. And coin flip basically means it's around 50-50 on either side, right? So what we're looking for are opportunities where we have a slightly better than even chance of this bet winning, and we're going to get slightly better than $1 back, right? There's margin in that. So let's go into this. One click, boom, it's going to come up, and we're going to see, okay, well, there's a bunch of baseball here. This is our one click. It's a bunch of baseball for today, but I don't see anything else. Well, I did say we were recording this on Friday, right? There's two things to note. One, our default on this is for same day stuff. So about 0.7 days gives us everything that's happening today. A lot of times that's what you're going to see. And that's going to be the most interesting plays because they're going to be the closest to game time for this kind of strategy. So all we have to do is say, you know what, show me the next week of games. So we'll go to 7 days for the max and let's just look at NFL. Okay. So let's do that. We'll hit apply because we got to pull in some more data from the server. Now we've got something to work with. Okay. So let's look at this Green Bay Packers and Cleveland Browns game. Matthew Golden receiving yards under 30 and a hook. All right, so here we have, this comes up, and what we see in this is very straightforward. What we see is we have plus 117 on Matthew Golden receiving yards under 30 and a hook at Novig, which is where I can play Profit X. I can't play at right now, so I can't get their plus 122, which is actually going to be more like plus 118 after the fees anyway. So it's about Novig's price anyway. But you look at that and you look at the sharper books. Now, and keep in mind, we treat FanDuel, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it is 2025. FanDuel has actually become pretty sharp on player props. So we give them more weightings points as our default for that. And we can see here, they're offering minus 114 on the other side on this Matthew Golden receiving yards over 30 and a hook. Well, what does this tell me? Well, A, I could just play an arbitrage and get both sides of it. B, maybe Novig is sharper and maybe I want this other side at FanDuel, but I know FanDuel is pretty good at the player props these days, and I see some additional support from where Fanatics is. So in this case, this might be a good example of one where you might like, well, maybe I'll arbitrage it, or you might say, you know what? I trust something is going on at Novig. You go look and see how much liquidity is on this particular price at Novig. That might tell you something. You can always dive more into it. But honestly, if you've got plus 117 on this and FanDuel's offering the other side of minus 114, you're not going to be too bad taking Matthew Golden receiving yards under 30 and a half. And that's exactly what our recommendation was. You can actually make these plays from here if you want to. But it's really nice because you can come in here and simply say, okay, click on this. Let's make it $30 recommended wager based on my bankroll settings. And I can make that play, make any enters in, place it, and I'm done. Right? And then I can track it and see it comes up over the weekend. So that is one way of doing it. Let's look at another one. Let's see if we can find one. Here's one. New York Jets, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, total points over 43 and hook. Again, click it. It's going to bring in all this additional information. Let's clear this guy out of there. I didn't want to actually save that to my history, but we'd see New York Jets, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, total points over 43 and a hook. Novig, again, plus 104. Now, one of the other things I might mention is that it's easy to kind of go broke if you're trying to do top-down betting at Novig and ProfitX because they tend to be a little bit more reactive into market information and stuff like that. And so you'll often see some of this where you see there's a hard line on this side, and all of a sudden you see these really positive values coming out at Novig. Be careful if you're going to bet into too many Novig and ProfitX plays. Like these first two seem really good, but I'm also like, I also know that you tend to not win a ton betting top down at Novig and FanDuel. So in this case, look at where the rest of the market is. So what's really interesting to me here is at Novig, we can see plus 104. Now, in this case, we're at this time of week where line movement isn't going to be a huge deal. Like you're not going to see a lot of super fast moving markets in midday on a Friday for a football weekend. So, but in this case, what we do at A-Train Station that I think is a really important basic technique for anybody is to say, hey, well, what if Novig's right here? What if Novig's got it covered? Look at, they've already got the lowest hold in the entire market. I look at this and I'm like, wow, they're with the 3. You got to respect that to a point. Well, let's at least flip it around. Novig, you're now the source of truth. I just click on that. Where's the other side of this? Can I get a profitable play somewhere else? Well, you could get maybe at ProfitX, but you got to take some fees out of that. Hard Rec Bet got a slight EV play there. But honestly, here, if I think Novig's right and I can't really tell, I'm passing, right? So I came into this thinking, hey, this might be a good play, 2% play. No. So in this is the kind of thing that we do at A-Train Station, that as you get more advanced, you're going to be better and better. Again, just be careful about no vig and all of those scenarios. Maybe say, okay, BetMGM here, that's not much of an EV. So you can kind of look around. Hard Rock Bet, Justin Jefferson receptions under 5.5. Let's look at this one. This is another one that I might like to have, because, looks like that line has moved. You see where it was, other people saw it, they took it. And so once it's been a few minutes since I've run this page, you're going to want to refresh it again. And see, these lines do move, especially when you see these kinds of opportunities pop in. You're going to be like, okay, there's some real movement to these, because a lot of top-down bettors are going to see these same plays. It just depends on how they're breaking down the challenges, but there's no shortage of things to look at. A lot of times you will see something too, that you'll see these crazy outlier percentages. Typically this is because they, for an instant, priced something wrong and then it immediately changed. It never took a bet at that price, but they priced it and it threw our stuff into a monkey wrench. And so you just have to watch that, because this data is always flowing. And so when you see something like that, just pump the brakes and be like, okay, no, that's not real. 8%, these are probably real lines. So you start to understand that as well. But what's nice here is you can see our EV percentages here on the left. There's all these different games you can bet into. And again, this is the middle of the day on a Friday. And this is just one of our searches. So let's go back here. Let's see something else. Let's go to Sharp Wait by Hold Main, because the thing I like with Sharp Wait by Hold is when I do main lines, I'm interested in the wait by hold version of that. And when I do player props, I generally don't do wait by hold. What is wait by hold? It is a way of telling who's more confident in their line. So I'm going to do NFL here. And again, I'm going to do max days of 7 so I can get into this week's games. Wait by hold main is for main lines, non-player props that have the sharp book weightings done based on their hold, which is a measure of how confident they are. It's how much they charge to offer those markets. So the ones that charge less, we infer to be more confident in their lines. So when we look at different plays here, let's see if we can find something interesting. Let's look at this Las Vegas Raiders two-way money line. This is one where, the money line plays are definitely going to be ones that are interesting to see. Now, this is a really fascinating one, because midweek you see BetOnline, a substantial outlier to the market. Now, this could mean that BetOnline's pricing is delayed. Could be. It also could be, though, that they took some heavy action on one side, and so now they are trying to buy back on the other side, so they've skewed the market, because this plus 153 just screams out at you. So all the differences of this wait by hold thing, all of this stuff, all of that's just kind of baked into the search. And so you don't have to know more than saying, wow, if I can get this price, I want it. You got arbitrage. There's a bunch of things you can do with it strategy-wise. But you see this play plus 153, BetOnline. Take it, right? That's where this kind of baked in search is so powerful. And we have so many things that you could look at. And you say, you know what? I'm not that interested in looking at all this. I can just adjust the search a little bit and say, you know what? I only want to look at anything that has a 5% edge and has odds no higher than plus 150. Let's see what that does to our results. Instead of 59 results, now we have 10. Okay, I can work with 10. Well, this one's clearly bad data. We don't need to worry about that. We see BetMGM, first half Green Bay Packers, minus 7.5. That doesn't, I don't love that number. I'm not that interested. Again, you look at these searches, you don't have to play everything in them, but you say, okay, which ones are kind of interesting to me? Well, what about this Philadelphia Eagles points under 23 and a hook? This one's kind of interesting. So we've got a couple books here that are charging a little bit higher of a hold. So I don't like that. I see Hard Rock is moving to the left here based on our line movement. But again, I don't have to be too thoughtful on it. If I can get a plus 120 here, I might be interested. Caesars and BetOnline are both pretty good at setting their lines, even if they're greedy. So plus 120 at Hard Rock, taking the under, which is traditionally the sharper side than the over, you might want to make this play. Hard Rock plus 120, recommended wager on this based on the bankroll is $30. So you might have a nice play here, 5% plus EV play. You're probably going to get closing line value on this. Now, the only thing that you might be concerned about is, does Hard Rock move, tell us something? Others, are they going to you might want to say, maybe take a few minutes, see if anybody else follows Hard Rock's heavy line movement here. But chances are, ain't nobody following Hard Rock, right? So we'll just see what happens there. But it's been sitting out for a few minutes. Nobody's touching it. I think we're probably pretty good. It's interesting, too, because the sharper books here are holding fast. BetOnline has not moved. They have just offered the line, no line movement. They're sticking with it. Hard Rock, a little bit more flighty. Caesars kind of just moved moved both of their lines a little bit to the right. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to play this at Hard Rock. Philadelphia Eagles points under 23.5. Yeah. All right. So that's another search. And again, that's the whole point of saying with NFL, you want to react to the information. I have so many videos that talk about how to break down these challenges with top-down betting. This isn't really what this is about. It's about just saying, hey, you can come in here and even in the most basic mode, find plays that you're interested in. And that's the thing. You don't have to make every single play out there. I mean, you could do our dedicated arbitrage search and see what's out there that is arbitrage. What I do like to do is, I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to do 7 max days again. We're going to do only NFL, okay? Let's hit apply because we do want to see both sides of this. And we want to see the more data than is pulled in. All right, well, we know those couple lines are probably not very good. Let's scroll down here to lines that are probably more likely to exist. And we're looking for some arbitrage plays that are pretty compelling. So let's see. Hard Rock and Novig. This might be one that's worth looking at. And so I'm going to click into that, and it takes a second for it to load. It's churning a ton of data on the back end, but it pulls up pretty quickly. And in this case, what we see are what we call lazy lines at Hard Rock. They've offered this market. The rest of the market has probably moved off of this number, and we see Pinnacle and Novig with substantial differences here. Now, it could just be a data delay at Hard Rock. That would be my first thought, is that this line's probably not actually available at Hard Rock anymore. But if it were, we see a great opportunity to come in and say you don't like doing just the plus EV plays. Well, you go in and you say, okay, I'm going to take whatever I can at Hard Rock and get the best I can there. And I'm going to hedge it with Novig. And what I can do is just create an arbitrage here and say, okay, I got $50 in at Hard Rock. I got to go take $41 at that price at Novig. I can make my arbitrage. I can make my $4 profit, and I can move on. And that's the kind of thing that you can do. As you find the opportunity that's interesting, the first thing you learn is how to start to capitalize on that. May just make the play on one side of it, maybe do an arbitrage, maybe say, you know what, I think they might be the sharp book, or you may just say, you know what, I don't think this line's real at Hard Rock, I'm going to pass. And like, that's the kind of thing that you'll start to develop. And then you can start to do more and more advanced analytics around it, and you could really build your skills and advantage better. Because think about it. Would you like to be able to do this kind of thing? Or do you want to just have some loudmouth on the internet tell you, oh, go bet, the Arizona Cardinals over 46.5? Like, that's not going to teach you anything. You're going to be just following them, and they're probably not going to help you win anything. And if, heaven forbid, you pay for this, it's just a joke. So you'd rather be engaged. And I think that one of the things that I'll leave you with, like, we covered a couple examples. I just want to give you a taste of what it is like to just find plays with A-Train Station just for NFL. You can do this for any sport. Any day, any moment, you can find plays like that. But the thing that I find, in addition to winning money, I like winning money. I've been profitable every year since I started doing advantage betting. It can be tough. You can have down streaks. You can have down streaks that blow your mind. But the fact is, you're making wise decisions overall, and betting's hard. But when you win, and I've won every year, like I've said, when you win and you've done it this way, there is a feeling of pride that you get in beating those sports books at their own game, beating those other sides of the Novigs and the other exchanges, right? Where you came up with that decision. You had a tool that helped surface some information, but you made the call. You decided the bet. You read that market. You saw that head fake for what it was. You said, no, I'm trusting Novik here. Or you said, no, I think Pinnacle's behind the market on this play. I'm going to go bet. That's when you start to develop that, and you start to have the confidence of seeing, hey, I know how to be a sharp sports bettor, not just to make some plays that some other clown told me. That's when you really have a hobby that is an awesome way to spend some time. I mean, how many other hobbies can you take your family on vacation with, right? That's really the goal, I think, for many of us that are sharp sports bettors. Like, I personally, I don't want to derive all of my income from my betting activities. It's too much. I do not like it. I am not a happy person when I'm living and dying by all of these bets. And I've done it. I've had $20,000 in action on one day. Like, no, that is not me. But would I like to be able to take the family on a cruise? Yes. Right. And that, I think, is the reasonable goal for most of us. And if you can enjoy it on top of it, you can enjoy watching sports at a level that you couldn't otherwise, this is the kind of place for you. A-Train Station, the community we have, and the people who are all trying to learn and get better, recognizing it's a hard game, but recognizing it as a game that if you can beat it the right way, you get so much more out of it than just a few dollars. There's a lot of ways to make money in this world. Enjoy your NFL season. Use A-Train Station and have a blast while you're learning and while you're beating the books at their own game. So for now, this train's leaving the station. Until next time, keep learning and use A-Train Station for whatever the fuck you're supposed to use it for, because I don't remember the tagline. I should just leave that one in there. What's the fucking tagline? I don't fucking remember. Until next time, keep learning and get your edge with A-Train Station. We'll see you soon.